Southern and Western Europe are facing one of the most dangerous wildfire outbreaks of the summer, with major fires burning simultaneously across Spain, France, and Italy as a brutal heat wave grips the continent. Emergency services in all three countries are stretched to their limits, and hundreds of thousands of people have already been forced from their homes. Spain, a national emergency. Spain's government has declared a national emergency. The most severe fire is burning west of Madrid, straddling the border between the Madrid region and the province of Ávila, near the town of San Martín de Valdeiglesias. Officials say this blaze and a neighboring fire are essentially touching along a stretch of roughly 15 kilometers. Spain's military emergency unit has taken command of the firefighting effort, backed by more than 2,700 personnel, over 400 ground vehicles, and 21 aircraft. Crews from Greece, Italy, and Portugal have flown in to help. Madrid's regional emergency chief described the fire as being at its peak and, for now, beyond the capacity of firefighters to fully contain, with erratic winds threatening to push it further. Interior Ministry figures show close to 10,000 hectares burned in the Madrid region alone, with another 13,000 to 15,000 hectares scorched in neighboring Ávila. A separate, even larger fire near Guadalajara has burned roughly 32,000 hectares and forced dozens of villages to evacuate. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez visited the emergency command post in the village of Cebreros and said the absolute priority is saving lives, warning that difficult hours lie ahead, because although temperatures have eased slightly, nobody can predict exactly how the wind will behave. At least one person has died in the Spanish fires, and evacuation orders now cover more than 10,000 residents around Madrid and Ávila combined, with tens of thousands more affected nationwide as more than 30 separate forest fires burn across the country. France, one of the largest peacetime evacuations. In France, the situation in the southwest has triggered what officials are calling one of the largest peacetime evacuations the country has seen. Fires raging through the Gironde department near the Atlantic coast and through the wine region around Bordeaux have forced roughly 200,000 people from their homes. Entire towns near the resort area of Cap Ferret were ordered to evacuate, with emergency phone alerts telling residents in at least 5 communities to head toward Bordeaux, where shelters are now packed. A separate blaze near Biscarrosse and Parentis-en-Born has burned more than 2,500 hectares on its own and forced over 23,000 additional evacuations. France has appealed for international assistance, and President Emmanuel Macron has thanked firefighters and foreign partners, including teams from Romania, Croatia, Germany, Portugal, Sweden, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic, for their support. He said the country has mobilized all available civilian and military resources, including civil security aircraft, Canadair water bombers, dash planes, and water-carrying helicopters, adding that in these hours of testing flames, France has shown itself to be a united people standing shoulder to shoulder. Military cargo planes have even been pressed into service to help dump flame retardant on the fire near Bordeaux. At least one death has now been linked to the French fires, and authorities warn that dry conditions, drought, and shifting winds mean the danger is far from over. Italy, a crisis on multiple fronts. In Italy, the crisis is unfolding across multiple regions at once, driven by the same heat wave baking the rest of southern Europe. Sicily has been especially hard hit, with more than 1,000 firefighting interventions recorded on the island since the middle of the month. A firefighter has died battling a blaze near Caltanissetta, and homes across the island have had to be evacuated as fires continue to break out. Large active fires are also burning near Ravanusa, where more than 6,500 hectares have gone up in flames, and near Resutano, with more than 3,000 hectares burned. Sardinia has seen its own emergencies, including a fire in the pine forest landscape near Aglientu in the Gallura region that forced the clearing of nearby beaches and the closure of a provincial road for several hours. In northern Italy, the picture is somewhat different, but no less alarming. Persistent heat and drought have pushed water levels in the Po River to record lows, and several municipalities in the Piedmont region have introduced steep fines for anyone caught using drinking water to wash cars or water gardens. Nationally, Italy has already seen tens of thousands of hectares burned so far this year, well above the 20-year average, with fire risk remaining elevated across Sicily, Sardinia, Calabria, and parts of the Alpine Arc stretching into northern Italy. The same driver, 3 countries. Across all 3 countries, the underlying driver is the same relentless heat wave that settled over southern and western Europe, bringing record-breaking temperatures, tinder-dry vegetation, and unpredictable winds capable of turning a contained fire into a runaway blaze within hours. Emergency services are urging residents and travelers in affected regions to stay alert to local evacuation orders, avoid closed roads, and follow instructions from civil protection authorities, since conditions on the ground can change rapidly. Firefighting crews from across Europe continue pouring into the hardest-hit areas, but officials in Madrid, Bordeaux, and Rome are all delivering the same message. With high temperatures, low humidity, and strong winds expected to persist, the fight against these fires is likely to continue for several more days before any of them can be considered fully under control.